Howdy everyone, good Monday evening. It is time for the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video, and we have a bunch to talk about this evening. We've been in the middle of a kind of a 48-hour long duration winter storm. You know, some winter storms come in with a bang, they do their dirty work, and they move on. This was the kind of storm that just sort of lingers, and there have been times in which it's hardly done anything as far as snow goes, but other times, of course, the snow's been coming down at a better clip. To say there was some angst on social media yesterday would be putting it lightly. No surprise, of course, most of it was on Facebook. A lot of people, despite us kind of hammering the idea for days that this would be a long-duration storm, a lot of people woke up Sunday morning and didn't see 4 to 6 inches of snow on the ground and thought that, you know, the forecast was a bust and everything else. Of course, that was not the case, and of course, the snow did come back, and it snowed most of the night, and it's been trying to snow for a lot of the day today, and especially as we get into the evening now. Things are starting to ramp back up again, even though accumulations from here on out will be fairly minor. Here's a look at where we stood earlier today. These were reports relayed from the National Weather Service. These are train spotter reports. Some of these are media reports. Some of these are from the general public as well. And in general, while some of this data is several hours old at this point, in general, 3, 4, 5 inches was pretty common in most of our area. In Columbiana County, just about the entire county had 4 or 5. Especially the southern half of Mahoning, most places had 4 or 5. The amount started to decrease once you got up towards the Trumbull border, and certainly into Trumbull and Mercer counties. The amounts were a little bit lower. This is our final snow map issuance Sunday morning. And as I like to do in these winter events, I like to kind of give ourselves a grade and see what we can ascertain and what we can learn. This was certainly a little overdone. You know, we shouldn't have bit on some of the model data suggesting we needed to expand the 4 to 6 as far north as we did, because this was overdone, 4 to 6 forecast in Warren and Sharon and Mercer and places like that, but not by a whole lot. You know, as the crow flies, this was probably, 15, 20 miles maybe too far north. Not a huge miss, but, I do regret bringing the 4 to 6 area that far to the north. Thought in the heart of our viewing area, the 4 to 6 area was fine. Mahoning, Lawrence County, northern Columbiana. And while I didn't see any reports over 6 in southern Columbiana, in parts of Carroll County, one county to the west, and Beaver County, one county to the east, I did see a few reports of more than 6 inches worth of snow. All right, back here in the present, as of 7:10, we have light snow falling. Now, we're an hour and a half past sunset at this point, and temperatures are starting to fall. And so while this will not be anything that breaks the bank accumulation-wise this evening, a coating to maybe an inch. It'll be enough on untreated surfaces to make things slick once again. Any wet, slushy areas can refreeze overnight. It's going to be a colder night tonight than it was last night as we drop down to about 20. All of this is pretty small potatoes compared to what they've been dealing with along the East Coast. New York City, most snow in about 5 years in Midtown Manhattan with well over 12 inches. Now the bulk of the worst weather is shifting to the north of the city and up into the Hudson Valley and parts of Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and back towards the Poconos in northeastern Pennsylvania. So no surprise, almost all of New England is under a winter storm warning this evening, and those warnings extend all the way back to the Allegheny Plateau in Pennsylvania. All right, road temperatures this evening on our major thoroughfares are still largely above freezing, but that'll change some as we go through the night tonight. It looks like our model doesn't want to load the data here, but I can tell you that the most numerous snow showers and flurries will be over the next few hours. They will decrease overnight, and I think we're snow-free once we get to daybreak on Tuesday. So there's, I've already seen a couple of random 2-hour delays in some districts, at least adjacent to our viewing area. I don't think that'll be all that common tomorrow morning, unless, the refreeze is a little more problematic, but snow accumulations will not be a big deal overnight, and actually some intervals of sun will try to appear from time to time on our Tuesday. Wednesday may start with clouds, but I think there'll be some intervals of sun once again midday and afternoon before clouds increase again on Thursday, and this is our next weather maker. Now this will drag precipitation in here Thursday night and into Friday morning, and this may take on kind of a mixed bag presentation with some rain and wet snow, not expecting the snow to be much of a big deal, but I do think that temperatures will fall fairly significantly Friday afternoon in the wake of that front, along with a gusty wind. All right, let's talk about the next big weather news across our area, and it's looking now like we're going to have the coldest weather we've had in a little over 2 years coming up in about a week, as a chunk or a spoke of the polar vortex breaks off and comes south. Now, this, despite what you're going to hear on the Today Show and other national outlets at times, this doesn't mean the polar vortex is coming to the U.S. That basically doesn't happen. But little spokes, think of it like a wheel, and a little spoke of it, can come down. And this has not happened yet this winter, and something of this significance hasn't happened in about 2 years now, where you get a strong enough spoke of that vortex to come south and drag enough cold air to the south that this will mean some business, this cold air mass, early next week. Here's a look at one model's depiction of the wind chills by next Monday morning. Almost a guarantee it looks like that will be below zero in terms of wind chills. It may depend some on the cloud cover Sunday night, Monday morning. Notice how much lower the wind chills are to our south and west. That's because the model is depicting clear skies and colder temperatures over there. If we stay pretty cloudy, the air temperatures won't get quite as low, and therefore the wind chills won't be quite as low. But no matter which way you slice it, Monday morning is going to be awfully cold, and probably 2, 3, even 4 mornings in a row where we'll have some nasty wind chills. Here's a look at next Tuesday morning. Expected wind chills on this model, 10 to 20 below, and I don't think that's out of bounds, out of the realm of possibility. I think that very well could happen. All right, now that we're into the month of February, it's time to talk about the February outlook, and this is the forecast put out by the Climate Prediction Center yesterday, and it makes sense to me. Now, this is a big change compared to the forecast a couple of weeks ago. What happened? Why was that mid-month February outlook such a miss? Well, for a while now, for a couple of months, we've had favorable conditions in the northern Atlantic for cold weather in the eastern U.S. In other words, there's a lot of blocking in the northern Atlantic. What we haven't seen is real favorable stuff going on in the Pacific upstream. And now finally, some things are going on in the tropical Pacific that will force a big ridge to pop up over here. And when a ridge pops up over there, a lot of times a trough is forced to dig in downstream, and that's what's going to transpire, and that's going to allow some of the cold that's been bottled up in Siberia on the other side of the pole to come to this side of the pole. Now, will it be as harshly cold as it will be early next week for a long duration? Probably not, but it does look, colder than average for a while, and that probably does tilt the month towards the colder side of things. Not to say there won't be mild periods, because there probably will be. Precipitation-wise, pretty active month. Wetter than average is favored, and I think that's a good call. I think that February's snow could rival December's and be quite a bit more than we had in January. And that will easily put us above last year's totals. We're going to be above last year's totals here pretty soon. We're approaching last year's seasonal snow totals as we speak. We'll be above the last year's numbers here pretty soon, and then we'll probably get above average for the season by mid-February at the latest. At the Youngstown Warren Airport, our average seasonal snowfall is in the 60 to 65 inch range. Last year we had 48. Right now we're sitting at about 42 and change, and so we're gonna be adding to those, it looks like, as we go through the month of February. So sometimes these these seasonal forecasts, and even forecasts that only are a few weeks into the future, sometimes they're real tough, and sometimes some things that happen upstream can really have a big influence on what happens around here, and sometimes the change to a forecast can be kind of dramatic on this time scale, and this is one of those situations. So winter is now 2/3 of the way over, but you could say that winter's only just beginning, given how the pattern looks in the next couple of weeks. Thanks for watching tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you tonight on 21 News 11 with a fresh update, and right back here, same time, same place on Tuesday for another edition of the Valley's geekiest, nerdiest weather video.